Hey, everybody. Super excited for this chat today. We talk about AI meeting sales and sales tech with an innovator in this space at Docket. Arjun, how are you?
I'm good, Evan. Thanks for having me. Excited to have this chat.
As am I, as someone who's been in sales for, gosh, 35 years. It's great to see this revolution happening. Before that, maybe introduce yourself. What is Docket and what's the big idea behind the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Docket is my third company. I have fortunately or unfortunately been in the sales tech and martech space for the last 13 years. First company was a sales intelligence company that I sold to Full Contact. Second company was a conversational marketing and sales, a little bit of an ABM platform that I sold to ZoomInfo. Now it's called ZoomInfo Chat. And I was at ZoomInfo as the chief data officer for a little over 2 years. And then I resigned and started Docket end of 2023. At Docket, I'm the co-founder and CEO as my title. But what we believe as a company is that if you take any company, less than 10% of the go-to-market knowledge is actually documented. The
Mm.
other 90% is either in somebody's head or lying in unstructured data like a call recording or Slack chats and Microsoft Teams chat and things like that. But this data is so critical for both the sellers and buyers. So what we do is when we work with our customers, we help to bring together the structured and unstructured data, clear out the noise, learn from the best sellers, and build it into what we call as a sales knowledge lake for that particular company. And then on top of that sales knowledge lake, we have two agents that we give to our customers. The first one is the AI seller agent, that is an autonomous agent that can interact with your website visitors in a personalized way, human like way on the website. And then there is the AI sales engineer that is an enabling agent that makes your sellers 33% more productive by giving them the help like a sales engineer would do.
Wow, the AI sales engineer sounds fascinating. I started my career as a sales engineer. So maybe walk us through what it actually does and how it works day to day with the sales teams.
Yeah, absolutely. So, sales engineer, fundamentally, a sales engineer does a few things, right? They have the ability to ask deep discovery questions. They have the ability to answer complicated technical questions. They fill out the RFPs, security questionnaires, and they do the demos. Those are at a very high level. Obviously, it changes from company to company a little bit depending on the complexity of the solution that they are selling. But this is at a high level what they do. So, what we do is once we pull together this knowledge in the company into the sales knowledge lake, this sales engineer will have the ability to answer questions from the account executives, and that can be on a Slack, that can be when they are receiving an email. So they are in Chrome, they receive an email, our plugin pops up on the right hand side and give the answer to the email. The interesting thing is every answer we give is the answer that one of the best sellers in the company has given in the past.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so even a new account executive who does not know all the details of the products or how to answer an objection or a competitive intel question, they'll be able to respond exactly like their most tenured account executive. Now, one thing that we have recently launched is our ability to actually join calls in real time.
Mm.
So, Evan, imagine you and I are on a call. You are the buyer, I'm the seller. You ask me a question. I have no idea how to answer. My options are either I say, let me come back to you, or I give you some BS. Both happen all the time on sales calls. But with Docket, what happens is you press the shift button and the answer pops up in 1.5 seconds on your right hand side.
Wow.
So the you wouldn't even know that I have something on the right, but I get like short formatted text that I can quickly read and say, yes, we do integrate with that system. And here is how it happens.
That sounds amazing. You also talk a lot about your sales knowledge lake. What is it? How does it work? How is it different from, your typical CRM or sales tool that's out there today?
Yeah. Core understanding there again is that for an account executive to execute their tasks, they need the deal intelligence and processes that, you think about a MEDDIC, MEDPIC, or the sales methodologies, entering details into a CRM, following up at the right time. All of that I would call as the deal intelligence. And then there is the product intelligence, which is about the product knowledge, objection handling, competitive, the enablement stuff that you typically get. So if you look at a typical CRM solution or any of the conventional sales tech solutions, Deal intelligence is what you handle. If you go to Salesforce or a Gong, what you have there is, what is the deal value? Who is the account owner? Is it an enterprise customer? What is the risk signals in the deal? All of that, super critical, but that's what they cover. What they do not have is the product knowledge, because product knowledge is sitting in sales enablement tools and marketing collaterals and
Mm.
website and help center and RFPs that they have filled, product documentations. That's what we pull and bring it into the sales knowledge lake. So, from a source standpoint, bringing together this siloed product and go to market knowledge into one place is very critical for any company to get started with AI, in our opinion. Then the second thing that we do is, imagine a call recording, Evan. We talk about what is the weather in Austin? What did you do this weekend? Good questions on a sales call, but not knowledge, essentially.
Mhm,
So you have to
mhm.
tune out all of that noise, because garbage in, garbage out. We want to keep the garbage from going in. So we tune out the noise. So we have a proprietary data cleansing process. The second thing that we do is, you tell us who are your best sellers and subject matter experts. We go look at the interactions that these people have done in the last year, their calls, documents, questions, answers. We weigh their answers slightly higher than the rest of the tribal knowledge, because of which our system becomes super accurate and learns the verbatim of the bestsellers. The third thing is, we understand how many products do you have. For every product, who are the competitors? What are the discovery questions? What are the objections? That's kind of like an onboarding thing that we do. And with that, we build the knowledge graph that is curated for your company. So I hope you get the picture. It is the deal intelligence
Mm.
and product knowledge, and the three levels of pruning and reasoning that we do on top of that data, that makes it the absolutely pristine go to market knowledge graph that any company needs to execute on AI.
So sounds so impactful, but so what are customers telling you? Any anecdotes or stories,
Yeah.
feedback on how you're, changing the sales game, basically?
Yeah, absolutely. So we see from a metric standpoint, we impact the win rate and sales cycle and onboarding time. We typically increase the win rate by about 12%. We reduce the sales cycle by about 10%, and we onboard the account executives about 15% faster. So these are kind of the metrics that we see. We kind of roll it up all and say that, hey, what is the revenue per seller that you have right now? We will improve your revenue per seller by 20%. So that's kind of the metric that we try to drive our customers to, because this 2025 is the year where everybody is trying to do more with less. And every CRO is thinking, how do I go from my quota of 1.2 million to 1.4 million without adding additional headcount? Right. So that is what we are trying to give to our customers. And our customers include ZoomInfo, Demandbase, Whatfix, Pathify, Newstore. The best thing that has happened is, our AI has been in enterprise production for over 15 months. So that, again, if you look at the AI companies, there aren't enough AI companies with enterprise level production deployment for 15 months that has been going. We have got a few thousand users on our platform now. We have answered over 55,000 questions so far in the last 10 months or 12 months, let's say.
Wow.
And almost all of our initial customers who went through the first cycle, they bought more. So they started at like 35 seats, then went to 230 seats, 500 seats. At ZoomInfo, we support about 1,300 sellers, and a bunch of other places where they went 40 to 82 seats, things like that. So far, so good. It's still early days for us and AI, but we feel very confident.
That's amazing. Let's talk trust. AI tools, as you know, can sometimes go off the rails as hallucinations, other problems. How do you make sure information is accurate over time? And even with the salespeople, how can you keep them on the rails? Is that also part of the goal to make your sales teams more reliable and efficient as well?
100%. The hallucination, if you look at the last 2 years of evolution of AI and LLM models, the conversations around hallucinations have come down. Our customers, when we started the company like 1.5 years back, they would come to us and say, hey, what about hallucination? And we did this huge test where we proved to them that our hallucination was 2.3%, which was the industry best and things like that. That was some time back. But these days, in the last 5 to 6 months, if I look at all the sales calls that I've been doing, the the conversations around hallucinations are not happening as much, because I think we are at a point where in the enterprise stack, companies have figured out multiple techniques to keep the hallucination very minimal. So if you take our system, 100% of our answers are grounded in the enterprise knowledge, and 100% of the answers will have references associated with it. So that also ties a little bit to your question of how do you get the salesperson to trust the product, and how do you make sure that the salesperson is using the product in the right way. One of the things that we do is giving references for every answers that we give, and these references are clickable, click throughs. You can go to the source and verify if you want to choose. The second thing that we have done with our customers is whenever we give an answer, we use the recency of the data, frequency of the number of times we have seen the
Mm,
fact, authority of the source, and authority of the person to give the answer. Then we package all of this into a confidence score. So every answer will have a confidence score that goes from low, medium, high, verified. So those four levels, the salespeople will be able to see. A bulk of the answers will be in high, but if it is low, then they know that they got to check out the references. The other thing that we have also done is we have added something called as a guard note. It's kind of like guardrail. So there might be topics that the companies are like, hey, if it is about privacy, don't let the account executive copy paste the answer. So if it is about GDPR or privacy or PII or things like let's say
mm.
the compliance related topics, then our product has the ability to show up a note that says this talks about GDPR. You have to talk to the subject matter expert, and this is the right person to talk. So there are so many pieces of workflows that we have implemented. This is just I gave an example of GuardNote, but we have implemented so many pieces that gives the trust to the user and to our customers.
That's great. Yeah, when I started in sales, I had pretty much a Rolodex, that whirly thing,
Yeah.
that circle that moves around, and a phone and a voicemail box and a pager. And that was pretty much my tech stack. I mean, these days, of course, you have Zoom and Slack and Teams and Salesforce. Um, how does integration work with the tools that your customers already use? How quickly can you get deployed?
It's fairly straightforward. In fact, I am the strong believer that LLMs have made enterprise deployments way faster than it used to. I mean, you and I know the
Mhm.
enterprise deployments that used to take a year, 1.5 years to get to some form of a pilot. There are still tools that are implemented that way. But by
Mm.
and large, if you talk to the AI vendors, native AI vendors, not the vendors who had something and then now moving to AI, if you talk to AI native vendors, one thing that you would start seeing as a common denominator is the onboarding is way faster, because there is a lot of turnkey things that you can activate to get to, let's say, time to the first value can be as early as hours to days to weeks, not months. If it is months, there is something wrong, at least to get to the first value. Then you can obviously deepen over a period of time. In our case, we typically see that we can get somebody to the first value in less than a week. And the full
Wow.
deployment is about 2 weeks to 3 weeks for a mid sized company and 6 to 7 weeks for an enterprise company.
Wow.
That's
Well,
because of the
that's
seamless integration, right? We have 100 plus app integrations. So almost all the enterprise solutions that you are using, whether it is Slack or Teams or SharePoint, Google Drive,
mm.
Intercom, Zendesk, Chorus, Gong, Document 360, Seismic, HighSpot, anything that you're using, we can bring it in fairly quickly. There is no labeling, there is no tagging, because some of those complicated problems, AI is taking care of organization of the data. That makes super easy for the admin. That is the reason why the onboarding is way faster, and I believe that other vendors have also gotten this advantage.
Fantastic. Well, what's next? I mean, you've raised money recently. You certainly know how to grow and scale companies. What's on your roadmap for the rest of the year?
The focus today is product and go to market. Yes, you're
Mhm.
right. We have raised two rounds. The first one was a 5.3 million seed round led by Foundation Capital and a bunch of amazing angels. And the second round was a Series A led by Mayfield and followed on by Foundation. We have enough money in the bank. So it's always good to have a war chest when the world is moving this fast. We have a team of about 40 people. So it's a well rounded team. We have the right team to execute. We are not trying to, find that one more talent to help us get
Mm.
somewhere. um, the focus today is product and go to market. The product has to move significantly fast. You may have seen the recent launches from OpenAI. It just came into the enterprise space so quickly, right?
Mm.
One fine day, 1 hour, one tweet, they are in the enterprise and into enterprise sales, into enterprise marketing. So if you are in the B2B space, you have to be really on your toes. So every day I spend a significant amount of time thinking about the product. Where should we go? How do we deepen it? How do we not become a roadkill by OpenAI? All of that. So think go to market. Obviously, go to market has not been this hard in the last 15 years, I can say.
Mm.
Before that, I do not know, because I came into the workforce 14, 15 years back. um, I've done 2 companies. I've sold other products and services before and after. Actually, it has never been this difficult to catch somebody's attention.
Mm.
The attention is a very, very, very high premium today, and the noise is very high. So, I mean, this, Evan. You interact and interview so many amazing revenue leaders and founders and others. Go to all of the sales tech companies' website. Everybody has the same tagline, right? Make your best, make every seller into a bestseller.
Mm.
I can tell you 10 companies with that same tagline. So now I'm pretty deep in sales tech, right? I've been here 13 years, and I go to
Mm.
different websites and I'm like, so this is the exact same thing that they are also doing. What are these guys doing different? If I am not able to understand that's playing in on the field, I cannot imagine a revenue leader to understand, okay, this is what X is doing and this is what Y is doing. The challenge with that is when you are super confused, the companies tend to take like a wait and watch mode. I don't know
Mm.
what this is, so let me wait a little bit for this noise to clear.
Mm.
So that I see in the AI space. But on the flip side, the good revenue leaders, they also know that they cannot sit and wait, because in the next 2 years or 3 years max, AI will give you a competitive advantage. And in 3 years, it'll get to be table stakes. At that point, if you are not full on in AI, then you're going back. So our job is to thread the needle in between this, get the attention, get through the noise, and convince the people this is the right thing to act. We have been fortunate to be the Gartner Cool Vendor and a bunch of other awards,
Mm.
so able to raise above the noise a little bit. But this is the typical world that vendors are operating in today, and my world is not significantly different. So product and go to market.
Well, it's very, very insightful answer. Let's move into a bit of the science fiction version of the discussion.
Yeah.
We're racing towards AGI, agentic AI is really starting to take off. Do you foresee, fully virtualized sales agents who are sellers themselves, sort of avatar influencer types who can engage with customers? I mean, you're seeing bits and pieces with conversational AI, but you think this will be a practical approach to selling over the next 5 years?
If you go to docket.io today, now our AI seller is going to pop up in the bottom middle, and it'll actually
Mm.
have a human like conversation with you. It'll
Mm.
talk in voice, it'll talk in text, it'll pull up slides, it'll pull up videos, and kind
Wow.
of take you through the whole thing, capture your email, book your meeting, the whole thing. So I guess my answer is yes. I do believe that AI will do a lot of sales conversations and will be the seller. But there are 2 ways to think about AI, Evan, and this is very interesting. There are places where we are thinking about displacement of humans, right?
Mm.
Like, will an AI sell service now in the next 5 years? No, it is not going to be able to sell or service now kind of a tool in the next 5 years. It's
Mm.
not possible. 5 is very difficult to see, just to be clear. Let's say 3, because AI is so fast. So let me pull that back and say 3. Um, but there are cases. Imagine you are going to buy an insurance, or imagine that you are going to buy a vacuum cleaner. The problem with that is if you go to, let's say, Dyson or any of the vacuum cleaners, they have 50 vacuum cleaners or 150 vacuum cleaners. Now you are like, I have no idea what to do with this. But you don't want to go to Best Buy, right? Best Buy, they will kind of guide you at least a little bit. You don't want to go to Best Buy. What do? So there are a lot of these cases where you need, ideally, you would love to have a human support, but for Dyson to put a human to speak with all of you coming onto their website, impossible. It's not. So there an AI can do a lot of things. All AI has to do is three questions, right? So do you have pets? If you have pets, then obviously a bunch of vacuum cleaners are gone, a pet
Mm,
friendly. So the 60 just came down to 15. Then the next question is it a commercial use or a personal use? Boom, the 15 came down to 3. Right now, as a human, you can make the call. Can an AI do this? Absolutely. And you don't need AGI, you don't need ASI. Current systems can easily do it with very minimal intelligence, honestly. So there are all these use cases where the TAM today does not even exist because you are not deploying a human to do this. There is where AI is going to play. When the ACV is low, when the complications is not that high. In other words, when the sales friction is high, but
mm.
the post sales is not that high, that's where AI will play a lot. And it'll keep deepening itself a little bit, but I don't think that the enterprise motion that you and I know is not going anywhere anytime soon.
Oh, so well said. Well, it's good news that humans will be at the center, at least
Yep.
for the foreseeable future. Thanks so much for joining. Really intriguing and exciting path you're on. Thanks for sharing the peek behind the curtain.
Thanks a lot, Evan. Thanks for having me, and you enjoy the rest of the day.
I will do. And thanks everyone for listening and watching. And be sure to check out our new TV show, Tech Impact TV, now nationwide on Bloomberg and Fox Business.